welcome back to All About That Disney Life. I am Danny B, the girl who is all about that Disney life. We now move on to our next Disney musical. It is On the Record, which came out in 2004, so here are the facts. Number 1, the backstory. On the Record, sometimes referred to as Disney's On the Record, is a jukebox musical revue featuring many classic songs from a variety of live-action and animated films and television series produced by Walt Disney Pictures, Broadway musicals, plays produced by Walt Disney Theatrical, and even Disneyland attractions. This theatrical celebration of 75 years of Disney music tells a story of 4 singers recording a greatest hits album in a magical recording studio. After opening in Cleveland in 2004, the production toured for 9 months, visiting 24 cities in the United States before closing in Denver in mid-2005. Number 2, the production development history. Following the successful stage productions of Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King, and Aida, Walt Disney Theatrical began to brainstorm a way to showcase Disney's wide catalog of songs without the use of a movie screen to present them. The result was When You Wish, a new revue that, though intended to ultimately play on Broadway, failed to make it past the workshop stage, despite having Tony Award-winning actress Faith Prince attached to the project. Instead, Walt Disney Theatrical president Thomas Schumacher, along with director and choreographer Robert Longbottom, conceived a new show meant specifically for the road, On the Record, which would tell a very simple story for 4 recording artists in a studio. Though the developers of the production originally planned to create more complex characters and greater tension between them in the studio, they instead eventually watered down the plot for more general review entertainment because, says Longbottom, the songs were from so many different character points of view that one couldn't begin to create a book musical that would allow them to coexist. After the basic concept of the show had been developed, musical arranger and supervisor David Chase joined the project. Collaborating with Longbottom, Chase delved through Disney's music canon to extract songs that would showcase the personality of the characters and would be able to tell the story without spoken words. Designers Robert Brill, Greg Barnes, and Natasha Katz took on the task of creating a classy show with modest design elements so the production would be able to travel easily. After technical elements of the show began to come together, casting auditions were held in June of 2004 around the country, including New York City and Cleveland. Broadway veterans Emily Skinner and Brian Sutherland were cast as the older, more experienced couple of recording artists, while newcomers Ashley Brown and Andrew Simonsky were cast in the roles of the newer musicians. Richard Easton received the role of the sound engineer, a part that was ultimately cut from the show. Caitlin Hopkins, as the only actor to regularly replace one of the original 4 leads, took over Skinner's role as Diane on January 15, 2005. In its 36-week tour, On the Record was performed for over 35,000 people, opening on November 19, 2004 at Cleveland, Ohio's Palace Theater and closing July 31, 2005 at Denver, Colorado's Denver Center for the Performing Arts. While the production was originally planned to run through September 4th, after playing to disappointing small audiences, the production ultimately decided on an earlier closing date after only 2 months on the road. There are currently no plans for either equity or non-equity licensing of the production. In April of 2009, the show saw new life in the form of Children's Musical Theater of San Jose's production of When You Wish, a separate revue based on the Record. Adapted by the theater's artistic director Kevin Hodge, When You Wish, much unlike its basis, tells the story of 3 children who stumble upon a fantasy world in which they meet many beloved Disney characters. While When You Wish abandons the recording studio setting, it incorporates On the Record's same catalog of 71 years of Disney music. Later in 2014, White Plains Performing Arts Center presented the regional premiere of the production in its original form with a few new additions to the production. Number 3, the synopsis. Involves characters that express their personalities and emotions with the use of song rather than speech. In this case, the characters tell the show's simple, almost non-existent plot through selections of Disney music. The story is one of a love rectangle between 4 recording artists, including reigning pop diva Diane, matinee idol Julian, and the fresh faces of the music scene Kristen and Nick, recording a Disney compilation album. Upon entering the studio, Kristen instantly develops a crush on teen heartthrob to be Nick, though Nick initially denies any attraction. Meanwhile, Julian attempts to rekindle an apparent ex-relationship with Diane, but is often interrupted by his unrequited love's flirtation with the younger talent. As the show comes to an end, though, Diane comes back to Julian, remembering how precious their time together had once been. Nick, in turn, learns to embrace love and professes that he will always be there for Kristen. Number 4, the music. Musical numbers in On the Record are performed by the previously mentioned 4 principal characters, as well as a separate unnamed quartet and an 8-member orchestra. While the show is often advertised as a collection of 64 Disney songs, there are actually 71, with 3 of them reprised. Hardly any song, however, is performed in its entirety. Under the musical adaptation and arrangement by David Chase, songs also take different twists on their original counterparts from film or stage. Be Our Guest especially drifts from the original film version in that it is sung in a surplus of different languages. Julian sings a portion of the song in French, Diane sings in German, Kristen sings in Japanese, Nick sings in Swedish, and the company sings other portions in English and other languages. The work song, however, hardly drifts from the original version at all, digitally altering the characters' voices to imitate those of Cinderella's mice. The 75 years of Disney music represented in the review dates back to Minnie's Yoo-Hoo from a 1929 Mickey Mouse short called Mickey's Follies, with the recent selection being Will the Sun Ever Shine Again from the 2004 film Home on the Range. On the Record includes a total of 8 Academy Award for Best Song winners. When You Wish Upon a Star from Pinocchio, Zippity Doo-Dah from Song of the South, Under the Sea from The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, A Whole New World from Aladdin, Can You Feel the Love Tonight from The Lion King, Colors of the Wind from Pocahontas, and You'll Be in My Heart from Tarzan. The catalog of music does not only come from the screen, however, but also from Disneyland attractions such as It's a Small World and the Enchanted Tiki Room, both with songs by Disney's prolific songwriter brother duo Richard and Robert Sherman. Also performed in the musical is composer Alan Menken's A Change in Me, a song written for Toni Braxton when she entered the role of Belle in the Broadway production of Beauty and the Beast. The songs are grouped into 15 recording sessions, as well as a prologue, finale, and a collection of instrumentals played after curtain call as the audience exits the theater, with each section's songs holding a unifying theme. Some sessions contain themes such as falling in love, while others may contain songs made up of entirely nonsense words, or even numbers about foreign cuisine. More often than not, songs within a session are presented in the form of a medley, leading directly into one another without a break between them. Released to stores on March 15, 2005, the cast recording, featuring the entire original cast, excluding Emily Skinner and including Caitlin Hopkins, received decent reviews. Produced by Walt Disney Records, the 2-disc set with a total of 45 tracks was mostly acclaimed for the talent of the cast and the timelessness of the Disney favorites. Because the show contains very little dialogue, the 2 discs are a recording of nearly the entire show. Furthermore, since the show's plot involves the characters recording an album of Disney's greatest hits, the cast album is effectively the resulting compilation. Number 5, The Aftermath. The review proved to be the beginning of Ashley Brown's relationship with Disney's theatrical department. After receiving positive reviews for her performance as Kristen, Ashley landed the role of Belle in Beauty and the Beast on Broadway on September 20th, 2005. After completing her run as Belle on May 28th, 2006, Ashley opened the Broadway production of Mary Poppins on November 16, 2006 in the title role, a performance which earned her a Drama Desk Award nomination for Outstanding Actress in a Musical. Ashley ended her Broadway run on October 5, 2008, but subsequently returned to the role, opening the North American National Tour of Mary Poppins in Chicago on March 25, 2009. Meredith Inglesby, who served as a member of the quartet and as Diane's understudy, also found success with Disney theatrical productions, landing the roles of Babette the Feather Duster in the same production of Beauty and the Beast, and later Carlotta in the Broadway production of The Little Mermaid. She was seen as Hannah in the North American tour of Newsies. Also, Tyler Maynard of the quartet has gone on to work with Walt Disney Theatrical, both in Mary Poppins as Valentine and subsequently in The Little Mermaid as Flotsam. Number 6, The Impact and Legacy. Disney's On the Record was a 2005 theatrical review produced by Disney Theatrical Productions that celebrated the studio's vast musical catalog. Showcasing over 60 songs from across 8 decades, the touring production highlighted the profound cultural impact and storytelling legacy of Disney's theatrical and cinematic music. Number 7, the production and its concept. The format. Unlike traditional narrative stage adaptations, On the Record was a musical review. It had virtually no spoken dialogue, relying instead on a massive medley of Disney favorites grouped by themes like falling in love or vocal experimentation. The story. Set in a magical behind-the-scenes recording studio, the show followed a love rectangle among 4 recording artists, a reigning pop diva, a matinee idol, and 2 fresh faces, as they compiled a Disney tribute album. The talent. The production originally toured 24 U.S. cities from 2004 to 2005. It served as a launching pad for future Broadway talent, most notably Ashley Brown, who played the lead character Kristen before originating the title role in the Broadway production of Mary Poppins. Number 8, the scope of the catalog. The show paid homage to 75 years of Disney magic by weaving together music from diverse corners of the company. Academy Award-winning hits. It featured 8 Oscar-winning songs, including When You Wish Upon a Star from Pinocchio, A Whole New World from Aladdin, and Beauty and the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. Beyond the movies. The set list included beloved songs from Disneyland attractions like the Enchanted Tiki Room, early animated shorts, television shows, and Broadway adaptations. Number 9, the enduring legacy of Disney musicals. Storytelling function. Composers at Disney have long functioned as storymen. Songs do not simply exist as interludes. They establish character motivation, drive the pacing, and provide the emotional underpinnings of the films. Broadway's animated style. The integration of theatrical and pop singing techniques rooted in Disney's animated films has left a lasting legacy on musical theater. The massive global success of stage productions like The Lion King fundamentally changed how studios approach commercial title aesthetics. So on the record, I have never heard of it, never seen it, probably because it was only around for a short period of time. But I saw somebody recorded it and saw some clips of some of the songs that they did, and it was really, really interesting to see. Like all of the players, like you had the 4 principal players, then you had that quartet. But what was really cool about their orchestra, it was like at the back where you can see them, like they were all like on like an elevated kind of set piece kind of thing, and it was really interesting. And when the part that I really did enjoy was the work song from Cinderella. Like they were wearing like these headphone, like with mics attached gear so that their voices would be altered to sound like mice. But I think the fact that it didn't get as popular as it did, probably because it was only celebrating at that time 75 years of Disney music, and we're basically past 100 years of Disney being around. Disney started back in 1923. We're now in 2026. We're basically celebrating 103 years of Disney magic, so to speak. But the fact that they came up with a show to celebrate at the time 75 years of Disney magic at the time with their songs, and they made each recording session like a medley of songs with a theme. I think that was a really great idea. Maybe they should bring it back. So there you have it. Those are the facts 2 on the record. If you like this video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. And I hope you have a zippity-doo-dah day. Goodbye.